The rain was merciless that night. It wasn't the soft, romantic drizzle you see in movies. It was the kind that soaks through your coat, chills your bones, and makes the world feel empty. Emily's car had died right in the middle of a lonely stretch of highway. No gas station, no lights, just the endless sound of water hitting metal. She tried calling for help, no signal. Her phone screen mocked her with no service. Headlights passed in the distance, but no one slowed. Each set of taillights fading away made her heart sink lower. Her hands trembled as she wrapped her coat tighter. It was almost midnight. She whispered to herself, "No one's coming." She thought about her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, sleeping at home with the babysitter. "Just hold on, Mommy will be back soon," she had promised. But now, miles away from anyone, that promise felt like a lie. Then, 2 flickers of light appeared in her mirror. A pickup truck slowed, pulling up behind her. Emily's heartbeat raced between fear and relief. The driver's door opened, and out stepped a tall man in his 40s, wearing a grease-stained jacket, his face rough from years of hard work. "Need a hand, Mum?" he asked, voice calm, steady. She hesitated. I don't know what's wrong. It just stopped," he smiled, grabbing a flashlight. "Let's take a look. Name's Jack. I'm a mechanic down the road." Emily watched him kneel in the rain, hands moving quickly, confidently. He didn't flinch when the water soaked through his sleeves. Within minutes, he had the hood open and tools scattered. He asked nothing in return, not even her name. When he finally got the engine sputtering again, Emily's relief was overwhelming. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, tears mixing with the rain. Jack wiped his hands on a rag. "Just get home safe, that's enough, thanks." But as he turned to leave, Emily noticed something, that his truck wasn't in great shape. The tires were worn, the body rusted. "Wait," she said softly. "You helped me, but how are you getting home?" "You were headed the other way," he gave a tired smile. "Doesn't matter. I saw your lights flashing. Couldn't just drive by." That line stayed with her. Couldn't just drive by. A week later, Emily couldn't shake the thought of him. She drove to the address he'd mentioned, a small auto shop by the edge of town. It was old, quiet, the kind of place that had seen better days. Through the window, she saw Jack fixing a car, sleeves rolled up, focus unbroken. She stepped inside. "You didn't tell me you owned this place," she said. He looked up, surprised. "Didn't seem important." Emily smiled. "Well, it is now." She handed him an envelope. "It's not much, but consider it a thank you." Inside was a check, more than Jack had seen in months. Emily worked for a local community foundation, and her boss had been looking for small businesses that truly made a difference. She told them about a man who stopped for a stranger in the rain without expecting anything back. Jack shook his head. "I can't take this." "You can," she said gently. "Because the world needs more people like you. And sometimes people like me need a reminder that good still exists." For a moment neither spoke. Just the quiet hum of the shop and the rain tapping on the windows again, softer this time, almost like a blessing. Months later, Jack's garage had a new sign, fresh paint, and customers lined up. Emily's foundation featured his story in a campaign called The Ones Who Stop. Every time someone shared the video, people wrote comments like, "Faith in humanity restored." Emily often drove by his shop after work. Each time she slowed down, smiling to herself, because now she understood something simple yet powerful. Sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms or capes. Sometimes they just carry a wrench, drive an old truck, and refuse to keep driving when someone needs help. And that night, on a dark, rainy road, one mechanic didn't just fix a car, he changed a life. Weeks turned into months, but that night never left Emily's mind. Sometimes, when the rain fell in the same restless rhythm, she would pause at her window and remember the glow of those truck headlights appearing out of the darkness, how it had felt like a miracle arriving late, but right on time. One evening, she received a call from Jack. His voice was hesitant, humble. "Hey, Emily, I just wanted to thank you again. The grant you helped me get, it saved my shop. I hired 2 apprentices, kids who needed a second chance. I thought you should know." Her heart swelled. "Jack, you don't owe me thanks. You earned every bit of it. You stopped when no one else did." He chuckled softly. Guess I just saw myself in that moment. Years ago, I broke down on this same stretch of highway. No one stopped for me either. I promised myself if I ever saw someone stranded, I'd never drive by. Emily didn't say anything for a while. Sometimes the most beautiful truths don't need many words. A few weeks later, she visited his garage again. The smell of motor oil mixed with the sound of laughter. Young voices, light and full of promise. Two teenagers were working under a car hood, Jack guiding them patiently. He looked happier, younger somehow. "Meet Marcus and Theo," he said proudly. "They come from a local youth center. Smart kids just needed a chance." Emily smiled. "Looks like you're doing more than fixing cars these days." Jack shrugged. "You fix what's in front of you. Sometimes it's an engine. Sometimes it's a life." That line struck her again. So simple, yet it carried the weight of everything she'd been trying to understand about kindness. It isn't loud. It isn't perfect. It's just steady, like rain that softens the ground little by little. A year later, Emily stood on a small stage, hosting her foundation's annual charity gala. She told the story of a rainy night and a mechanic who didn't keep driving. The room was silent by the time she finished. Even the most polished faces, businessmen, donors, city officials, had tears in their eyes. Jack sat quietly in the back, uncomfortable with the spotlight, but proud in his quiet way. When the applause rose, he simply looked down, hands folded, as if all he'd ever done was change a tire. After the event, he approached her. "You didn't have to tell that story," he said softly. "I did," she replied. "Because people forget. They forget that heroes can be ordinary." He smiled, shaking his head. "If you call that being a hero, the world needs more broken-down cars." They both laughed, but her eyes shimmered with gratitude. From that night forward, their lives remained quietly intertwined. Emily's daughter, Lily, grew up calling Jack Uncle Jack. He taught her how to check the oil, change a tire, and more importantly, to never pass by someone in need.